One man who attended the match at Anfield decided to do something about the problem. John Alexander Brodie was a 30-year-old engineer with 14 years' experience, having worked his way up from an apprenticeship with the Merseydock estate to running a private engineering practice. Brodie set about designing something that would put an end to disputed goals.
Provisional specification. Improvements in or applicable to goals used in football, lacrosse and other like games. My invention relates to those games in which the object of the contending sides is to kick or otherwise propel a ball through the goal defended by their opponents. According to my present invention, I attach boarding, canvas, netting or other suitable material to the limiting lines of the goal within which the ball is required to pass. Where it can be conveniently done, I prefer to enclose the space thus formed behind the goal so as to form a pocket in which the ball may lodge after passing through the goal. In this case, I prefer to use netting. Where found desirable, one or more bells or other suitable alarms may be connected with the netting or other material forming the pocket, so as to indicate the impact of the ball. Dated this 27th day of November, 1889.
The ledger is from Monday, February the 9th of 1891, and the ledgers are the documentation of the minutes of the Everton Management Committee or Board of Directors. They met twice a week. At the bottom of this page, at the full committee meeting, it indicates that under the subtitle Goal Nets, it was resolved that the club purchase a set from Mr. Barclay, and it's the same Mr. Barclay who in fact chaired the meeting and was the secretary of the club at the time.
The goal nets shown above are doubtless familiar to many of our readers and are the invention of Mr. J. A. Brodie, conditions under which the association game was played. He hastened to amend them by the introduction of his goal net. Every ball which passes the custodian and goes between the posts must score a hit, a most palpable hit, and no shot passing outside the posts can be falsely accredited with accuracy. The nets were first experimentally used by the Bolton Wanderers, who ushered in the new year by giving them a trial. The English League and the Lancashire League have made the use of them compulsory. Local Evertonians have used them regularly for some time, they being the first club to adopt them in general play. About 50 sets of the Brodie nets are now in use, and as this number is increasing week by week, Mr. Brodie may fairly claim to have scored a try and improved upon it.
Crowd disorder, which was common in early professional football, usually took the form of pitch invasions to attack either players or the referee. Of course, one of the things that could trigger that could be a dispute over whether it was a goal or not. And that's another good reason why goal nets were a considerable contribution to safety and order in football grounds at a time when pretty difficult to control 10, 15, 20,000 people.
I wouldn't even like to imagine what it would be like now in a World Cup or a Champions League game when we didn't have a net. Think of the disputes that were going on. Think of all the video replays we'd need. You know, it's just such a simple and actually, as we said, incredibly obvious invention, yet nobody thought of it for so many years. So, yeah, you really have to rate it very, very highly in the development of the football game as we know it, really.
At the time they had a referee and each club provided an umpire and you would appeal decisions, and I can imagine that it was after a lot of controversy over whether the ball was in or outside of the post that Mr. Brodie came up with the idea of goal nets.
Everton left Anfield the following year after a dispute with John Holding and began building their own legacy at Goodison Park, setting in motion a fierce local rivalry with Holding's new club, Liverpool FC. Brodie's career went from strength to strength. In 1898, he was appointed Liverpool city engineer, and while there, he was responsible for the development of the road network in the city. He designed Queen's Drive, the East Lancashire Road, and he oversaw the engineering work on the Queensway Tunnel. But his greatest achievement, the one of which he was proudest, was the humble goal net. Football has moved on, but innovations are few and far between. And though Brodie's goal nets may have been a simple solution to the problem of when is a goal, their contribution toward the developing game has proved immeasurable.